Hi there, and welcome to Cosmic Soul Alignment. And I'm glad you've joined me today, as today's guest is a deeply intuitive guide who blends the wisdom of animals, the power of heart coherence, and the creativity of art to help others navigate life with more presence, trust, and peace. And I'm pleased to introduce Tricia Sybersma to the show. So welcome, Tricia. I'm excited to dive into this heartfelt conversation.
Well, thank you for having me. And this is a topic that is close to my heart, is my heart. And so I am grateful and humbled and also excited to be here.
You're very welcome. It's lovely to have you. Now, you are the founder of HeartWorks, a sanctuary where horses and heart energy come together to heal and transform. And you're also a certified HeartMath teacher, a trainer rather, which we'll talk about a little later. So can you start by sharing your story of how HeartWorks was born and what inspired the integration of animals and art and energy?
Yes, it'd be my honor to do that. Honor to the horses, really. So I was one of those kids who was always in the grassy bits of the school playground. I was very quick to go out into nature versus sports. I was a little awkward. What I didn't realize then that I realize now, very sensitive from the beginning, and didn't resonate with the playground games or even with school structure so much. Then going through school, going into my adulthood, I've always found a way to be with animals. And in fact, horses, my very first memory of horses was watching a Santa Claus parade, a Christmas parade with horse-drawn floats. And that was it. I was hooked. And I must have been very young, like I must have maybe have been even 2 or 3. My parents don't come from a horsey background, but as soon as I turned 12, I started to babysit, and all my money went towards horses. And then going through school, going through college, starting to work in interior design. I also did courses, equine courses at a local college, and worked for various stables as self-taught, and then got professional training. And then when we moved to the Caribbean, the first thing I did was find the little riding school and volunteered there. And I just always saw the whole horse. And I knew that there was a relationship between divine feminine and the horse's nature as a prey animal, and the psychology of that, and how horses respond to pressure and unkind circumstances. And so fast forward, one gray, beautiful mare that was brought into the riding school uh, was labeled aggressive, and the riding instructor at the time suggested that I purchase her to save her because they were going to put her down. And as aggressive she was to everybody else, she was the least to me. So I did. I went out on a limb. I purchased her to save her. And then she was the catalyst for me to really dive into what it means to understand prey animal psychology, to understand their language, to learn what is labeled natural horsemanship, which is really working within their scope of understanding, their body language, and then their energy. And then fast forward again, we have a facility where I have a collection of rescued horses. And after the 2020 years, those few years there at the beginning of 2020, when all went quiet, my barn manager and I were ready to start to really give back to community and help people. However, traffic wasn't happening. And so I just sat in trust that we would know our path forward when it was time. So on an airplane, watching everyone file in, find their seat, and put their things away, that information came, and it was a download of a video with sound and visuals. And when we get information out of context like that, so loudly and so clearly, I know it's real because I wasn't thinking about the horses. I was watching everybody file in, seeing who was on the plane, and there it was. So I totally received the download, took out my phone, wrote everything down, and as soon as we landed, sent it off to the barn manager and my creative person, because I already had a personal website. And in that information pack was their plan, the horse's plan to give back and help community and be a catalyst for the time at hand on our planet. And that is to paint art. Other animals paint, which is absolutely amazing. And we reach out to all the animals, all the people and animals that paint to build the network and community and awareness. And these horses, my herd of horses, they wanted to up it. They wanted to upscale the painting and infuse their energies of what they'd overcome into the actual paintings, so that whoever interacts with that painting, whether it is a canvas, whether it is, we very carefully digitize the painting so we can apply it to, travel tumblers, to blankets, to products that will bring people comfort, will bring people a sense of belonging because now you're part of the herd, and also the infusion and transmission of the energies that the particular horse inserts into it.
Interesting. And about, the horses into their artwork, their painting, how do they do that? How do the horses paint?
They showed us that too. So we have a table that we can raise and lower. But before that, it starts with permission. So we do bring science into the work. We bring in biofeedback, which we term quantum biofeedback, and we bring in a technology called BioWell. So the first thing we did was ask who wanted to be part of it. And they all two wanted to wait and see what it looked like, but now they're all part of it. So we have 8 horses, 1 dog, and 1 cat. And so when we have a painting day, we had a painting day yesterday. When we have a painting day, again, we ask, okay, who would like to be part of this? And then we clear the barn. And we do various different things to clear the barn depending on the feel of the barn that day. We use affirmations. We will use sage. We will use sound. And then we bring the horses in and we do something called conscious grooming, which is clearing their energy field. And then there's like a hush that comes over. Sometimes the horses pick the theme. Sometimes we pick the theme. Yesterday we picked the theme. We're doing a holiday theme called presence, but presence as in being present, not a wrapping present. And each artist or artist, like we like to call them, has, again, we used a combination of animal communication biofeedback to put together their color palettes and their energy signatures. So we asked them, first of all, would you like to paint today? And then we asked them if they would like to or would be open to working with the color palette based on the theme. And then we prepare the table, which we can raise and lower for their chest level. We prepare watercolor paper. We, within the color and with like hand on horse, we will just drop the non-toxic watercolor paint on the paper, acrylics on the paper. Then we do cover it with a film. Although the paint is non-toxic, we cover it with a plastic film, and they're ready. Like as soon as they know it's painting day, they're bright-eyed, ears forward. They're ready. We take all halters ropes off, and we bring them to the table, and they then paint. Because horses cannot, with their lips, because horses cannot see right down in front of their noses. That's what the whiskers are for. We do put the equivalent of bran flakes just to define the space for them. It's not like a bribe. It's not a treat. It's dehydrated hay. And we just do that so that they can feel where those are with their whiskers and know that that's where the painting space is. Because like I said, they can't see. We let them use their lips so that they're making contact with the paper, and where the paint is. And their horses' lips are like fingers. That's why they can get out of their stalls. That's why they can open gates. That's why they can get into food bins. So their lips are very flexible and movable, just like our fingers. And when they're done painting, they just stop. Some will push the table, and they again look at us. We're done. Okay. So then when we take the film off, we always show them the painting. And when we do that, and we've got over 100 originals now, they look like it's always, whoa, look what I did. And we're like, yeah, whoa, look what you did. This is great. And so what happened was we started doing this to offer healing artwork for people. But these rescued horses, who range from age from 6 to 26, are all healing themselves. The vets are like, can we come and just see the horses? Because there is this awakening of accessing their expression through art for the purpose of inviting others to have it, has awakened their own natural healing abilities even for them. So now I've got like a herd of 5-year-olds. It's really incredible what's happened. And so we know that when others engage with the art, the same is true for them. And in fact, we test it now. We test a room without a blanket, and then we put a blanket in the room and we test again. We test a person on their own, and then we put a scarf on them, and then we test them again. So we know that there is this change of heart energy that's happening.
That's what I was wanting to ask you. Do they then, when they're doing this painting, are they, passing on into the painting some positive healing energy? Is that what they're doing? And do you think they get, I'm going to say a kick out of that, but do you know what I mean?
Oh,
Some
yes,
really
because
enjoy it.
oh, yes, because we also, within the biofeedback realm, we ask them, what would you like to share about this particular painting or this particular, if we do a painting for an event, what is the message to the event? We did a big event for Chigwell Riding Trust in the UK, which is the oldest riding school for the disabled, and they celebrated their 60th anniversary. And they gifted us with a special message for them to go with the art that we donated for their auctions, for their fundraising. Yeah.
Nice. And horses, I see horses, I suppose spiritually as very powerful, but not just healing, but I also see grace in them as well. How do you see horses now after working with them?
Well, there's two levels, because as with ourselves, we are here having a physical human experience.
Mhm.
And so we do have a physical body, and we're in a physical world. Horses have always been depicted, though, as that being between the physical and the energy realms. Like they've always been the Pegasuses, the unicorns. They've always been that in that place. Day to day, I have great reverence for them, but day to day, they are horses. And so we do our best to let them be horses. It rains, they get sand polished, as I say, when they roll and get all covered in wet sand and mud. They enjoy their hay. They enjoy their horse interactions. We have a training program in terms of continuing to increase our communication and our interaction with humans. I ride two of them. Um, However, even before HeartWorks, the training and interaction we do is very conversational and very participatory. Now, safety is safety. So if we have a safety issue, we deal with the safety issue to keep the human and horse safe. When we're just having fun and we are maybe working with ground poles, maybe we are riding, maybe we're grooming, uh, we do watch their body language constantly, and whether rescue horses or not rescue horses, they have preferences, they have opinions, they're bringing in their soul essence, just like we're bringing in our soul essence, and so we're always keeping that in mind. Um, and the other important point is animals and humans don't learn if they're not relaxed. So to keep the brain centers they do have open, we keep them in that relaxed state. And then people will say, well, they don't have a frontal cortex, so they're not like human. Well, then I say, they don't need one. They're connected. So, horses work as individuals, but they work as a herd on the physical plane. But then energetically, they're working as a collective,
Mhm.
where we're really, that's part of our journey, right? To get over our frontal cortex and use it for what it's there, but to then work as community and work as a collective as well.
You had mentioned you've got several horses. Did you say you had a cat and a dog?
Yeah,
Yeah. How do they do the paintings as well?
yeah,
How
they
do they do that? I'm
do.
assuming with their paws and
Well, so the dog, her name is Hannah, and she's a rescue as well. And I rescued her, and then the barn manager adopted her. She paints very similarly to the horses, and there's videos of her doing that on the website and on YouTube and on Instagram. But the paper's on the floor, and she uses her mouth. The cat, his name is Spike. He's also a rescue. He was brought to us after he was at a humane society, and he had 3 different homes that brought him back. Couldn't touch him. He had no time for humans at that point. So someone asked if we would try, and it took a year, but now he is a wonderful, affectionate cat, and he plays 2 roles. He's a guardian of the HeartWorks space, but he also does paint, and his colors are very soft. They're pinks and light blues, which is kind of interesting, being that his name is Spike and he's a guardian. Um, and so when he paints, he told us we prepare the paper the same way, but he lies on it and we stroke him and he wiggles all over and he purrs. And so he doesn't have as many paintings as the horses. His paintings are very special. And when he does paint, he adds his purr energy, and you just have to throw into the internet the hertz and the healing properties of purring, and
oh, yeah,
it's just it
yeah, off the
comes out.
charts.
So you get the energies he's overcome, which are trust and living in being part of our barn family, but also purr energy.
I need to love to see some of those. And I can just imagine the cat, wriggling around on
Oh
it
yeah.
because I mean, we've got cats ourselves, and when they lie on you and they purr, the vibration of that purr is phenomenal.
Hmm.
And I totally understand that would go right into the painting because it's an amazing thing, these cat purrs. Can we talk a little bit then about, a little bit and explore the scientific and the energetic frameworks behind your healing work? I know you're a HeartMath trainer. So how
Yeah.
do you explain heart coherence then to someone that's completely new to the concept?
Yes. So I found HeartWorks, I found HeartMath while navigating personal trauma. And I am a person who dives in. So if 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 I'm experiencing something, then I'm going to research inside, outside, up, down, sideways, backwards, under it,
Mhm.
over it, the whole thing. And this was a physical trauma that someone very close to me experienced. And so I dove in and was researching all around that, and the nervous system, and how it affects our the brain, everything. And while I was doing that, I read some heart math quotes, and then I must have liked them on the internet. And so when I needed it most, up popped a heart math quote. And it was always the thing I needed to hear. It was perfectly like, okay, I needed to hear that, and I could apply it right away. And everything else I was reading just went in one ear and out the other, because I too was in a stressful state. I too was in fight flight. I too had closed my critical thinking parts of my brain and was just trying to survive. And but the heart math information, it stayed. I retained it. And I realized later it's because all the languaging and information HeartMath shares is designed to speak to our heart, to bypass what's going on up here initially, because they know what happens when you're in a stressful state, and speak to the heart. And so through my heart, I was able to then start to open the parts of my brain, and then I could dive in more and learn more. So coherence. Coherence is heart-brain alignment. And this science dates back to the 1800s, when they discovered that the vagus nervous system, for example, sends more information out from the heart to the body than the brain sends out to the body. It got buried. I'll just leave it there. It was a very strong brain-oriented time. And in the 1990s, the founder of HeartMath unearthed it and started to talk about it, and surrounded himself with the top scientists, cardiologists, neurologists, and HeartMath was formed. And so it is a quick, in the moment, eyes open, when things are happening, a way to shift back, heart-centered, heart to brain coherence. And when the message sends that information from the heart to the brain has to follow. It's physics. So when the heart sends the coherent message, which starts with an elevated feeling like gratitude or compassion or understanding, to the brain, then a cascade of neurochemicals, hormones are released for our brain and body now to support that flow of feeling and energy from the heart out to the body. And it happens in seconds. So HeartMath is designed for people. It's designed for everybody, but their main clientele are first responders, military, medical, teachers, because you do it eyes open in the moment. It's not a go away, meditate for an hour, which I do when I have time. It is in the moment.
Yeah. And how can people then, how can they use their own heart energy to shift the emotional tone of, a situation that they're going through, or a room or a person? How can they use
Right.
their own heart energy?
Right. Well, um, they can email me, but they or look at HeartMath. But we can do one right now if we're like, we can do their first their first technique is heart focused breathing, and we can just do that, because it's something you need to feel, not actually do. And it's the 10-second fix. It really is. And it is simply focus your attention on the area of your heart and chest area. Now, imagine you're breathing in and out of your heart. And that is key, because we know we breathe in and out of our lungs, but what sits in front of our lungs, our heart. Energetically, we breathe in and out of our heart. I suggest to people when they're doing this for the first time, we do it slower than I just did there, but not too slow. And I say, let your heart show up. Just let it show up. What does it show up for you? Like, what does it look like today? And does it even look like anything? Is it a sense? Is it a color? Is it a waterfall? Is it your biological heart? Is it a pond? Is it your pet? Just however it shows up is right. There's no wrong answer here. And when you invite your heart to show up and you get a sense of it showing up, however subtle at first, then you animate that with your breath and breathe in and out of your heart. And then immediately that will start the positive chain reaction of a different release of chemicals that will then flood your other systems. And that's heart focused breathing. So you get so good at it that I just have to call on my heart. Just, okay, hello, let's go. And it's there. So in the beginning, it might be like a little footpath, but then that will open up to, an 8-lane highway, and it's boom, it's there. It's like training. It's like training for anything, because what you're developing is not only a different connection to your heart, but you're developing a neural pathway at the same time. And it is a complement to other breath techniques, like to yoga techniques and other breath work. It is a complement to that. But the focus is not the lungs. The focus is breathing in and out of the heart.
So it's like with the breathing, then it calms down your nervous system, and it just allows everything to be still and allows the heart to be heard then.
Yes. And then to add on our human superpower is their other famous technique is called quick coherence, which once you are breathing in and out of your heart space, if you have been if you're, whatever you're feeling, whatever's happening at the moment that you remember, oh, I better get heart focused breathing here, whether it's a bit of anger, a bit of jealousy, or a bit of confusion, you pick how you want to feel. So I need some confidence right now, or I need some understanding right now, and you pick that feeling, and then you activate it in your heart. And then adding that to your heart focused breathing not only changes our physiological state, it changes the room, it changes the situation. Because without saying a word, we're now sending a different message out to the space around us. And I think we send out at least 3 feet around us. Horses, incidentally, send out 5 feet. But we send out 3 feet. So that is our human superpower, that our feelings don't run us, no matter what anyone tells us. Mm-hmm. We decide how to feel. And for me, that was transformational. That was my first layer of, wow, we're really something as humans. Like,
This can work.
So if I need to feel gratitude, I generate that in my heart, and then it will do the rest of the work. If I need to generate patience, and I use this with the horses all the time, right? Just slow myself down, get into a place of really observing them. And then what it also does is it opens up the centers in our brain, and it opens up our imagination, it opens up our intuitiveness, it opens up how and where we receive information from.
And I'm assuming that you use that a lot of the time now.
Well, it becomes your way of being.
The habit. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like fixing your posture, right? Once you, like if you go from a posture due to injury, due to whatever it is that is maybe a bit down, and you start to train and you know, work with your Pilates and your yoga, and you train and you work with your HeartMath in terms of um, your, you know, feeling and energy state. Then when you start slouching, you go, oh, I'm slouching. I'm going to sit up. So it's the same. It's like once your body knows you can go there and you can be in coherence, it doesn't want you to be out of coherence. So you get these little nigglies like, hello, you know, are you listening? You know, you need to reset because it doesn't want to be in fight flight. It doesn't want to be on cortisol. It wants to be in a restorative state. It wants to have access to our brain power and all the information up there, because that's what it's for.
Mm.
And as soon as we switch and go into a stressful state, we close the door to all that information,
Mm.
and close the door to intuitive information, right? And so our body wants to have the doors open, the windows open. It wants the fresh air. It wants to use all the resources.
Yeah. So you're resetting and making the current
Yeah.
thing that's unfamiliar familiar,
Yes. Yeah.
moving forward. Yeah.
And it's like you can't unknow it now.
You can't unknow something. Yeah.
No. Once you know it, now part of my journey is we do have a system in our body that will resist it, and that's our nervous system. And even bringing forward healing art, right? Even with myself, our nervous system is programmed to keep us safe, and it doesn't like change. It doesn't like new ideas. And that shows up in a whole nother talk of ways, of how it sort of, it's a little voice that goes, nah, that can't be true. No, you don't want to do that. No, that's not a good idea. No, we've never done that before. No, it doesn't work. It's not real. It's not true. And so when you know that that's just my nervous system replaying the old story, then I say to my nervous system, of course you feel that way, but it's okay. And I literally feel like I take it by the hands. I say, come with me. Let's come with me. Let's explore this. Let's see what happens when I say yes to the horse's request to wanting to paint. Let's see what happens if I believe that the color and the textures alone have healing frequencies. Then you add the horse energy to it. Let's see what happens. And it's been just amazing because then you attract different things. And then you get more curious and you have more questions, and then you explore more, and we invest in more technology to measure what we're doing, and life becomes multicolored, multifaceted, multidimensional.
And you never look back, right? Never look back at
But I
all,
still
because
have
it's
to do
all
laundry.
going so good. It's all going so good. Okay, now
Yes.
is a good time. We are just going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Welcome back to Cosmic Soul Alignment, and I'm here today with Tricia Sybersma, and we are talking animals and art and energy, and she's been telling us some wonderful words of wisdom and some stories. And can we go a little bit deeper then, Tricia, about what animals could teach us about ourselves? So what are some specific lessons that horses have taught you about trust and boundaries and emotional presence?
Yes, and during that little break, I pulled up one of their quotes. I thought that would be a really nice way to start this particular part of the recording of the podcast. And the quote is, "You look at us horses in wonder and awe, but we are just horses. Look in the mirror. You are human. We have come through at this time and in this way as a catalyst to invite you to open your heart and see each other with the same wonder and awe with which you see us. Our energy expressions are here to help and support your heart opening. In love and gratitude, the HeartWorks herd."
It's lovely. I've
Yes,
always felt something about horses, just the sheer power of them. And I think there was a slight fear in there as well when I was younger about horses, but I've always been fascinated by them. They're just wonderful. Um, so what is the connection between emotional congruence and how animals respond to us?
well, because horses do have their physical essence, their physical being, and bridged with this wonderful, energetic intelligence and connection. Um, what they taught me starts though in with the physical, because we're also having a physical experience. And the first thing that they've taught me is permission. Permission, horses have been, the beast of burden. They've carried us while exploring, while settling, through wars, right? Even we still use them, police still use them, military in different countries still use them. So they have really been there for us as we evolved. Um, but underneath all that, permission is really important to them. They will still, comply or participate. Like they'll still do what we want them to do. But and maybe because of all the years of us just using them for their physical strength and abilities, now that we don't need them for those things, we can heal that with permission. And the other big thing that they have, they keep reminding me of, we whatever we're doing, we need to have fun with it. And fun is kind of a light word. But as I just mentioned earlier, when we are relaxed and we are in coherence and all our systems are operating harmoniously, that's where we learn, and that's where we retain, and that's where we access all the information we have available to us. And so if I were to package that up in one word, fun is an easy word to package that up in. And so if I'm not having fun with my horses, something's happened, whether I ask too much or they surprise me with a behavior, then I quickly shift back to where I was having fun. And I use that in my life as well, right? If I'm doing something that maybe isn't, a human task, like housekeeping, just things like that, I will frame it into something that is more meaningful so that I stay receptive and open. I've had my biggest insights folding laundry, my biggest insights sweeping. And I actually Googled sweeping once and all this really wonderful teachings came out from Buddhists about the rhythmic action of sweeping and how it is a meditation and opens you up to receive insightful information just by sweeping. Um, so whatever I'm doing, trying to pull out the enlightened part of it and focus on that part of it.
The animals respond to, I suppose, energetic shifts in the people around them.
Oh,
I
yes.
don't know if you've got any stories you can share there.
Oh, yes. Yes, they do. So horses have been used for therapy, believe it or not, since the 600s. If you research when were horses first used for therapy, that's what comes out. And that would be more of a physical therapy so they could get back on their horse and go back out into whatever they were doing, battle. But then they started feeling better emotionally and mentally as well. Horses' hearts and their electromagnetic heart energy radiates 5 feet out from their bodies. Because they're prey animals, and which means they were hunted, they are very careful with their energy, and they don't want to be triggered into spending energy on unnecessary things because they may need it for survival. So because of that wiring, if they are in the presence of a person who is not coherent, they want to help that person get into a coherent state quickly so that they're not draining their own energy to stay there. And how that translates to us is a gift of their coherence. So, so although it starts with their own preservation to protect their energy reserves, it also shifts, invites the person to shift into a coherent state. And so when people say to me, as you did a few minutes ago, that when you were little, there was some fear around horses, I actually, when I really feel into that, it's the wave of that electromagnetic heart energy we don't know what to do with. And our default is to be afraid of it because we don't understand it.
Yeah.
And so I've worked with some adults about this who've had a fear of horses. And when I explain to them, well, is it the horse or you just don't know what to do with that wave of love that you're now being totally surrounded with? And then when they are in the presence of horses again, with that awareness, oh, I'm feeling the love, and then relax with that wave of love, then they understand that that's where their fear was. They just didn't know how to accept, process, read that energy that was coming at them.
Yeah, how to deal with it. They didn't understand that. Yeah.
Yes. Now, I mean, horses like us are here for their journeys and their soul growth, and not every horse is a therapy horse. Some horses are here to learn tough lessons, just like we're here to learn tough lessons. And but every horse's heart does emit that electromagnetic energy that's 5 times greater than ours because that's just biology. Now, a therapy horse may lean into that and help somebody. A horse here to learn hard lessons may retract from that because that's not their lifetime to do that. They're dealing with some other things they've chosen to deal with. And that's just, respected. Like not all humans are healers either. We're all
Mm-hmm.
here to, some are mathematicians and some are here to be athletes. Some are here to, be artists, whatever we're here to experience.
We're all on our different paths.
Yes.
And I think I probably know the answer to this one, but I'm assuming that you believe that horses are here to help humans evolve spiritually.
As the quote speaks for itself. Yes. Um, Yes, because they've always been put in that place of there's such beauty and such grace. It's sometimes some days when I look at the horses, it's almost too much to bring in. We had a thunderstorm 2 nights ago, and I went out. It was 11:30. I went out, and I had my headlamp, and I had my phone in case I found something I needed help with. And I went to my one horse, Gwen, who was from Ireland, rescued from performance, which sounds counterintuitive, but performance horses, like high performing people, get burnt out and it's hard on their bodies. Anyway, I was just looking at her. She was the only one that was wet. She was the only one that stood out in the thunderstorm, which is totally fine. It's interesting. But what was coming off her back was this beautiful steam and heat coming off her back. And when I dug into that a little bit more, the messages I got around that was a harmonizing and a release of energy, of clearing the storm and regrounding the storm. And I took pictures of the steam coming off her back. And there's faces in the steam that was coming off her back. It's incredible. Absolutely incredible. So they also have access to the elemental realm, the elements, as in the earth elements, and the elemental realm, where the fairies and leprechauns, the elemental beings live.
Yeah.
So they are multidimensional. That's just part of their experience.
Have you ever, I suppose, had a moment with one of the horses where you felt the connection between the two of you? You know, the horse was a bit scared, and were you able to help the horse with that?
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. Both ways.
Okay.
Yes. Um, yes. Because our human perception is different than theirs in a human world. Yes. Horse shows, trailering. We would do big trailer trips with our horses, and like we're talking, like a 2 day, right, where we'd have to stay over somewhere and keep traveling the next day. And yes, I definitely had to be the anchor of this is normal, this is okay, this is absolutely normal, and really being coherent, because that's what they read. They don't really listen to our words. They read our coherence. So really making sure that my coherence, so that I am radiating that coherent energy. Oh, and then this leads to a really good point. Horses want us to be authentic. It doesn't matter, even if I was in a mood where I was off, or if somebody is sad, or somebody is recovering from trauma, or somebody is being triggered, it's not that part that has a reaction on them. It's when we fake it. And so if I come into the barn all smiley and, hey, how's everybody this morning? But inside I'm dealing with something. And it doesn't even matter what that something is, because they just read the energy. They will be like, you're lying. I can't trust you if you're lying, because that's what hunters do. And so it's best just to go in, okay, yeah, you know what? This has been one of those mornings, and I'm just going to go cry in your mane now, okay? That is far more meaningful to them than acting like everything is okay when it's not, because they see
Brushing it
that
under the rug. Yeah.
because they see that conflict,
Yeah.
because we are radiating that conflict. We're not in coherence.
Yeah.
And then that conflict then causes a reaction in them of being like, okay, here's the hunter. I don't know what she's apt to do, so I better be on guard. And that's where the horse comes out, right? That's where sometimes behaviors come out, where they may have to defend their space if somebody is being very confusing to them, because they have to protect their physical self as well.
Sure. Now, we've only got a couple of minutes left, and I want to talk just quickly about your book. You've called it Walking with the Herd,
Yes.
and that shares personal and spiritual lessons. So, what chapter or message feels especially alive for you right now?
The how to bring it into your life. So on the art website, it's framed with see it, feel it, live it. In the book, it's all the ways we see our life, all the ways we feel our life, all the ways we live our life. And once we open up how we see all our perceptions, how we feel, and then decide to live from a more heart-centered place, the commitment to live it does so many things. It's the commitment to saying to our higher selves, the universe, source, okay, I'm committed to living more from the heart. And then I actually break it down into, well, then how to live it at home, how to live it at work, how to live it in community. And it's not, the horses are telling you how to live it. It is thoughtful questions so that you can decide how you're going to live it. How are you going to see, feel, and live your life in your unique way with your unique gifts and talents and what you bring to the greater community?
Wish you every success with it. It sounds wonderful. But thank you so much for talking with me today, Tricia. And it's a very powerful and gentle reminder that healing doesn't have to be complex, just heart connected, right?
Oh, yes, that is exactly. And little steps in little everyday ways.
Thank you. So thanks for chatting to me today. But if Tricia's words stirred something in you today, check out her work and follow the signs, the synchronicities and those small whispers within. So until next time, stay grounded, stay open, and keep aligning with your soul's wisdom. Thank you again, Tricia. Take care.
Oh, thank you. Everyone have a magical day.
Bye-bye.